So guys, what if Naruto started new life and got big harem part 1? This should be here. A young boy about 15 years old said softly as he pushed a book onto the shelf where it was supposedly placed after someone stupidly placed it in the wrong place. Students these days. The boy muttered as he shook his head in disappointment. 3 years. It has been 3 years since he was kicked out of the ninja program after he failed the 3rd time in graduate test. It was saddening, but at the end of the day, he refused to stay holed up in his apartment and decided to search for a job. He got accepted as Konoha's librarian. The pay is nice, the books are nice to read to spend the time, and the ambus that comes doesn't hate him like the rest of Konoha's civilians. He got fed up with those people already by now. From the edge of his eyes, Naruto saw something glisten, and with a small sound of curiosity, Naruto took a rather thin book from its shelf. The glisten came from the glitter sticking on the book side. Someone must have read the book with some glitter in hand, and thus, the book now has it too. Oh well, small problem. Oh, what's this? Legends in Konoha. Naruto read the cover aloud with one eyebrow raised. The book got his curiosity now. Really alright, I'll remember the shelf's number for this book for now. After Naruto read the shelf's number, he nodded and walked to his desk to start his read on the book. That's funny. A few hours passed just like that, and at the end of the book, Naruto read the last legend in Konoha. The legend of the Orb of Wishes said to be able to fulfill anything you desire, be it wealth, power, or anything you could imagine. But there is a catch. The wish will be fulfilled will be far from anything you thought at first. Say, for example, you wished for something like this. I wish I had 1,000,000 ryo in my possession. Thus, the orb will turn the wheel of fate and make you have 1,000,000 ryo in the past. It was funny honestly, and even if you wished for something normal like, I wish I am taller than my friends. Then the orb will grant you a pair of legs that make you stand taller than anyone else. It was funny, as if the orb itself was left there by some kind of a prankster, a powerful prankster, but still a prankster at the end of the day. Anyway. Wish after wish, failure after failure. And now, no one wants to do anything with the Orb of Wishes anymore. That was a good read. Naruto said softly with a small smile of sadness on his face as he closed the book in his hands and placed it on top of his desk. Here's no one came to the library once again. The people who came to the library ever since he took over the job are only a few ambus and the academy students that were forced by their teacher to study more. And maybe I should go to this orb tomorrow to get a wish granted. Naruto jested light-heartedly with a soft smile on his lips. Then again, from what he could see from the book's explanation, most of the wishes granted were harmless to the wisher. Yes, it is somewhat funny, but all of those were harmless in the end. After all, he just wants some friends. What harm can it do? Present, he regrets his decision. That was what crossed Naruto thought the moment he woke up with nothing but pain all over his body. Ugh. With a groan, Naruto tried to move his body, only to get another jolt of unimaginable pain through his whole body, something that made him bit his lips to resist his urge to scream in pain. Now knowing any move is impossible to do, Naruto simply opened his eyes and marveled at the sight in front of him. It was a crater, large enough that it can be called as another training ground, and deep enough that even the whole Hokage building can be put inside with nothing but ease. What happened, you ask? Well, the orb he found exploded after he said his wish. PFFT, ha 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 ha. Naruto laughed hard, ignoring his whole body that currently feels nothing but pain. Why? Simply because the pain he feels in his heart is much more painful than his body could ever give. I want to have friends. I want the people to stop looking at me with glares eye. I just want that, so please, grant my wish. It was a heartfelt wish, one that he put every hope he can muster. It was a wish born from his years of loneliness. Of course, Naruto expected the wish to fail, as the orb was known to prank all people, but he thought that even if he failed to get some friends, he would at least get one friend. One friend, it's all he ever wants. And instead of answering him, the orb exploded right in front of his face and threw him against so many trees and broke some of his bones. Ha! Even the orb said to be able to grant any wish cannot fulfill his greatest wish. So unfortunate. Within minutes, Naruto's enhanced self-healing repaired all of the damage done to his body, bones mended, tissues repaired, and even his stamina slowly recovering. But he still lay there, eyes staring at nothing after he stopped his crazed laugh. I found him. Hurry. He needs a treatment. That voice. Pat. Yeah, that voice should be one of his ambus acquaintances and the one who guarded him from the shadow years ago before he failed the academy exam. He never had thought he would meet her again. And why does her voice seem as if in panic? After all, he has just gone from the village for an hour at best. It shouldn't warrant any search party. Also, what did she mean by him needing treatment? These kinds of wounds, Cat should have known such wounds won't be enough to endanger his life. Strange. Just as he thought like this, Cat herself appears in front of him and kneels on one knee, checking him with obvious worries in her movement. Naruto-kun, are you alright? Does it hurt somewhere? Kun? From what he remembers, he wasn't that close to Cat, and in the past, she usually called him with Uzumaki-sen suffix and never show any affection whatsoever. They had a professional relationship, but changed. His mouth opened, but no sound came out whatsoever, simply because he didn't know what to say in such a situation. That's very strange today. Medic. Hurry up. Naruto is in critical condition right now. She said suddenly toward her earpiece, panic enveloping her voice after she saw him move his mouth without any sound coming out. More startled than anything else, Naruto kept his silent, eyes staring at the cat-masked Anbu with nothing but wonder in his eyes. Truly, cat looks far more different than usual. Just as Naruto wanted to say something, white blurs past his side as 10 or so ninja medics appears in front of him. Obviously, they were the ones who were called by Anbu Cat. Wait, no, they're not normal ninja medics. That sigil on their white robes, all of them is Jonin ninja medics. And for some reason, all of them are kodoichi. And just like Cat, the moment they saw his condition, they immediately tend to his wounds, circling him in the middle of 10 kodoichis. One even clasped a breathing mask on his mouth and nose, while the rest of the 10 put their glowing green hands around every part of his body to heal him, despite all of his wounds already in the middle of recovering, even without such a thing. But still, blush overtook his face the moment Naruto realized his position. But then again, being a young teen of 15 years old, Naruto is old enough to know about the burden B. And right now, being circled by 10 women, each clad in medical attire that hides little of their figures, Naruto really can't help but blush. Wrong thing to do. His heartbeat is increasing. His breath is also getting ragged. We need to give him CPR. Wait, what? CPR, isn't that? Naruto's mind turned blank for a few seconds as the women around him began to show such unnatural worries for his well-being. They'll do it. Before Naruto can make out just what was happening, Kat kneels on one knee in front of him once again, this time without her mask on. Oh. Gorgeous and mature face. Long purple tresses that look as silky as silk itself. Red, pouty full lips that are already wet after she licked it with her tongue. And lastly, her eyes. Oh, her eyes captured Naruto's attention almost immediately with her glare, and no, it's not a glare of hate. Her brown pair of eyes stared at him with nothing but desires, so thick that he could be lost and drown in it. It made Naruto gulp for a second, but before he can say anything, unmasked Cat already took his mask off and leaned her tilted face forward, hands already secured behind his head. And just like that, red rosy lips landed right on his lips. Their softness, along with Yugao's grape scent, soon cut off Naruto's brain circuit as his face went from pink to crimson. Thus, Naruto faints. Later, Naruto woke up with another headache, though when he saw the white ceiling, he immediately realized that he was in the hospital room. What happened? He remembers going to the Orb of Wish in the Forest of Death and explosion then. The kiss from one of the most gorgeous women he even sees. Blush once again took over Naruto's face, but he shook his head from such imagination. That must be a dream, right? There was simply no way Kat he had known as one of the coldest women in Konoha suddenly kissed him out of the blue just like that. Ah, good, you're awake now, Naruto-kun, are you feeling alright? The warm, mature voice filled with worries hit Naruto's eardrums, something that startled him for a brief second, but when he turned his face to his right, the direction where the sound came from, Naruto's blush immediately deepens. Big. No. Huge. That was the thought that crossed his mind the moment Naruto caught an impressive sight of huge pair of breasts, clad in nothing but a gray kimono-style blouse with no sleeves. From the fact he saw something poking, Naruto is pretty sure the woman wears nothing underneath her blouse. I am alright. Thank you for asking. Naruto answered with a shudder and blush on his face. Once again, never see someone as gorgeous and voluptuous as the blonde woman currently checking on his condition. Heard his answer, the woman let out a small smile and wrote something on her note, and once she finished with this, she turned her face toward him and her eyes. They charmed Naruto almost instantly. Just like Kat, deep in her eyes, Naruto sees nothing but a desire for him. But sensually, the woman licked her lips for a few seconds, an act that made Naruto shiver with a pleasant feeling. Next time, make sure you tell your private Anbu guards where you're going. You don't know how much trouble you caused for Konoha after they lost sight of you after 5 minutes. Naruto's lips opened, but they closed once again not long after. Private Anbu guards. And said guards lost composure after they lost sight of him for a simple 5 minutes. What would happen, really? I am sorry for the trouble. Naruto doesn't understand anything, but for some reason, deep down, he knows that if he were to ask, it would make everything much more complicated. These women medics, Anbu guards, and this woman in front of him, they became panicked when they see little wounds on his body. They lost their composure after they lost sight of him after 5 minutes. If he were to ask any question, he's afraid they would do something outrageous. Ahaha, softly, the woman laughed, her face leaned down until her nose touched Naruto's, an act that made Naruto unconsciously put his hands on her shoulders, though, no matter how hard he tried to push her, the woman just won't budge. You're not giving me trouble at all, my dear, just make sure to free a day so I can take you out on a date, okay? Jew. As if she doesn't feel any pressure from his hands, the woman kissed him right on the lips for a brief second, and after that, she leaned back her face and stood once again with a rather big smile on her face, seemingly pretty happy after she kissed him. The date. Naruto shuddered, mind still reeling after the chaste kiss the woman gave him and the fact she asked him out on a date despite he is yet to know her name. Not knowing what was crossing his mind, the woman with huge pair of breasts nodded happily. Of course there is no one worthier than me, Tsunade Senju, the fifth Hokage to date someone as desirable as you, after all. Wait what? Tsunade Senju, as in, one of the 3 legendary ninjas, Tsunade Senju. What did she mean by she is the fifth Hokage? Where was the third? And what does she mean by her sentence? No one worthier than me to date you, no matter how he tried to think, isn't the woman putting him on a pedestal with that sentence? It is as if he wants, he could even reject her with nothing but ease. Confused, shocked, and definitely reeled, Naruto can only turn silent and nodded with a slight smile on his face, trying his best to look polite in front of the definitely powerful Kunoichi in front of him. Though, he immediately realizes it was the wrong thing to do because the woman's eyes suddenly turn glazed as she stares at him with hunger in her orbs. She walked to his side then, one hand went to his face where she started to caress his cheek with gentleness and a loving manner, while her other hand went to the top of her blouse and was in the middle of lowering it. With wide eyes, Naruto can only stare. So cute, I guess I should take my payment right here, right? No. Tsunade-sama. The door left unhinged as another beautiful woman clad in black kimono came in with glares on her face, and said glare's intensity increases when the woman saw what the blonde Hokage was trying to do before she came. Seeing the woman, Tsunade Senju let out a small sigh. Geez, Shizune, why can't you just give me a minute with Naruto-kun here? If you do, I could even die and be happy with it. With nothing but a dreamy expression on her beautiful face, Tsunade stares at Naruto and licked her lips, something that made Naruto's blush get redder. So, why don't you go away for now? No. I won't let you touch Naruto-sama without proper payment and booking. Hess, not someone you can touch so freely. DRRR, you stupid disciple. For a small second, Tsunade narrowed her eyes at the woman clad in black kimono, but after that, she in the end gives up, hands immediately went to her blouse to fix it. Alright, stop looking at me with that glare. Anyway, I checked everything, and there should be no problem with Naruto. As for the payment, I want a full day date with him. Please book me for it. As for the day, any day is good, I could even cancel all of my planning if it is to spend a day on a date with him. After the fifth Hokage said this, she went to the edge of the room and took a grass green Haori and immediately used it. Hearing what her former mentor said, the woman named Shizune took a small note from her pocket and flipped the papers until she found an unused paper sheet. Thus, she nodded while writing something. Alright, you will have your date with him 3 months from now on then. Good, that's far quicker than what I expected. With a happy smile on her face, Tsunade walked to the broken door to exit the room, though, before she can fully walk out, she turned her face toward Naruto with a seductive smile that succeeded to make him feel flustered. Then, I hope you have a good day, my dear, I'll see you on our date 3 months from now on. Still confused, but knowing that giving the woman a smile will be bad for his heart, Naruto merely nodded politely at the so-called fifth Hokage. And after he did, the fifth Hokage disappeared as she walked out of the hospital room, leaving Naruto all alone with this new woman named Shizune. Fortunately for him, he doesn't need to break the ice, as the woman regally took a seat beside him with a note in her hands. And on her face, a warm, loving smile can be seen. Firstly, some of you, cover the door. At first, Naruto was confused when Shizune said something to the innocent-looking edge of the room, but he got his answer the moment several female Anbus appears and quickly stand in front of the destroyed door, covering the side of the room from the outside. Naruto gulped slightly seeing this. He didn't even sense them. Are they his Anbu guards that Tsunade talked about? If yes, then they're impressive. Secondly, Naruto-sama, is there something you want to eat to fill your stomach? Nervous and flustered in front of such a beautiful woman that currently staring at him with affection, Naruto blushed a little, but still Raymond, please. You heard him. At once, off into her palm, Shizune looked unfazed as a fast black blur suddenly bypassed her toward the exit after a feminine voice was heard from out of nowhere. Though for Naruto, he widens his eyes. There was another hidden Anbu. Ahem, the woman named Shizune coughed against her palm once again, an act that got Naruto's attention. With everything's done, is there any other thing you want before we start reading your schedule, Naruto-sama? For a small second, Naruto almost wanted to ask what schedule. Fortunately, he caught himself before he can look suspicious in front of this woman that for some reason acted as if she were his manager or something like that. Maybe she is after the orb of wish exploded. Everything just seems strange to him, after all. For now he needs information. And no, that's all I need. You can start. By your will, Naruto-sama. Then, I'll start. A meeting with the fire daimyo, followed by a week of days off. A night date with a wealthy merchant that lives in Iwagakure, followed by a week of days off. Tea time with the clan head of the Hyuga clan, followed by a week of days off. Important schedule after important schedule. Naruto heard every single of them with nothing but focus in his eyes, and when Shizune finished reading the last schedule, which is his date with Tsunade 3 months from now on, Naruto can only sweat dropped. Each schedule they seem very important, though as for his sweat drop, it is simply because of his inner question. After each schedule I got a week of days off. It doesn't sound very professional, and for some reason, it also made him look like some kind of big shot. Wait, is he perhaps a big shot? Let's try something for now. Shizune, can you cancel some plans for this month? There was no shock or anger in her eyes the moment Shizune heard his words. Hell, there was a telltale of a smile on her face, as if she was expecting him to say such a thing. Of course, Naruto-sama, then let's cancel the meeting with Fire Daimyo in the capital, and the date with the merchant in Iwagakure, and considering you're pretty close with Hinata-sama, I'd think you would like to attend tea time with her, yes. Wait, what? Just like that? And what does she mean by Hinata? Isn't the schedule for him to attend a tea time with Hyuga's clan head? Wait. Oh, Hinata is the current clan head. Okay, he didn't expect that at all, but still. Is it really okay to cancel the meeting with the Fire Daimyo? Naruto asked with a rather worried tone, though hearing this, Shizune merely let out a small smile. Of course, one of your suitors, Yakumo Kurama, once tried to court you with all of the Kurama clan treasury, but you rejected her. From what I have heard, she's currently storming to the capital with her army to overthrow the current Fire Daimyo. I'm pretty sure a week or so from now on, she would try her chance to court you again after she become the next Fire Daimyo. Oi. Trying to overthrow the ruler of the whole fire country, isn't it a very serious crime? And why does Shizune sound so sure that this Yakumo Kurama going to win against the Fire Daimyo's army? His head hurt. Fortunately, before he can delve so deep into this strangeness he found his life into, Naruto's nostril got hit by a familiar scent of pork ramen. Later, still laying on his hospital bed, Naruto is reading a rather thick book with nothing but focus on his face. Well, not really the previous bed. After the hospital head medic and Shizune refused to release him despite his full recovery, they immediately thought it as him not having enough comfort, and after that, everything was like a blur to him. The latest television was installed, full with some newest game consoles that he could play on alone. The VIP bed, soft and fluffy enough for most people, was replaced by a very high-class bedding, complete with the highest class silk bedsheet covering said bedding. The bed was so soft that Naruto would slept the moment his head hit it if not for his burning curiosity. This world, he really wants to know what makes him special in these women's eyes. Hell, one woman named Yakumo Kurama is waging war against the capital to get his hand in marriage. Thus, right now Naruto is reading a book titled Common Sense on its cover. And what he found out is really out of his expectation. This world, just like his world, is pretty much similar, with males and females and all. He thought they didn't have males at first, seeing he is yet to meet one, but one thing that differentiates them is one thing. Males and females here hardly have any feelings for each other. Unlike his world, where someone like Tsunade is a perfect example of a beautiful woman, in this world, her looks mean nothing to the male population. And of course, vice versa. Except for me, that is. In this world where every female has a chance to become as strong as a monster, he alone is attractive in their eyes. From what he could glean from Shizune, no female could explain it, but to her, his look just feels right in a mysterious sense that woke her locked lust and love feelings. She, and millions of other females in this world. Thinking like this, Naruto gets a blush covering his whole cheeks at a quick rate, but nonetheless, a smile of happiness cannot be hidden from his face. When he said his wish to the orb of wish, such a thing like this was not among the things he expected could happen. But now, truly understanding this world, he can't help but be happy. Sure, he didn't actually gain any friends, but here he is wanted. Here, no one will give him a hateful glare. And for him, this is more than enough. After he put the thick book on the edge of the bed, Naruto took the soft white pillow and hugged it into his chest, eyes staring at his manager that currently sleeping on a sofa. Unlike Kat and Tsunade, Naruto saw more familial warmth in Shizune's eyes. The woman clad in black kimono desires him, and just like the others, she wants him, but at the same time, in her eyes, he was like a little brother she probably never had. Stealing his resolve, Naruto climbed off of the bed and slowly walked toward the sleeping Shizune until he was right beside her, face as red as a tomato. Shizune, are you awake? Naruto said as he poked the woman a little hesitantly, and maybe because she was a ninja, the reaction was quick as Shizune's eyes slowly turned half-lidded as she opened them, seemingly still in a very sleepy state. Naruto-sama, is there anything I could help you with? Shuffles. Shyly, Naruto poked his index fingers together as he tried to speak, but despite his best, he can't help but stare at the woman's cleavage that can be seen after her kimono loosened after a small movement she made. Shuffles. Naruto gulped down when the woman moved once again, loosening her kimono even more than before, and now showing a large amount of her cleavage. He won't lie here. Hess getting hard just from staring at Shizune's cleavage alone. I want to sleep with you, see can I? You to think Naruto-sama would want to sleep with me, such a nice dream. The woman suddenly said, eyes still half-lidded, and when Naruto heard her words, he blinked a few times. She thinks she's dreaming. Seriously? Boo. Before Naruto can't say anything, the woman was quick to pull him roughly and put her between the sofa's backrest and her body, face buried deep in the woman's cleavage, hands restricted by her embrace, and legs cannot move because Shizune already wrapped her legs around him. Naruto's eyes widen as his face explodes with red blushes of tomato. MHMMMNN. With such a position, Naruto can only let out a muffled scream, one that isn't that loud, simply because Shizune's large breasts easily muffled such a thing. Nonetheless, after he let out his scream while looking up at Shizune that seemingly already back to sleep, the woman in question seems to be happy as a small smile can be seen on her lips. Shuffles. And then, she moves again, this time pressing her whole body closer to the sofa's backrest, something that makes Naruto that currently in the middle of this blushes even more than before. He has being choked by Shizune's mature scent tinted with vanilla perfume. MNN, Naruto SAMA. It was then, the woman suddenly moaned in her sleep, all the while, pulling his body much closer to her. One of her hands slipped into his pants and grabbed his buttock, squeezing it roughly. And then, she began to hump his waist. Her rather warm groin alone is enough for Naruto to realize just what kind of dream the woman is currently having. This woman is molesting him. Both outside and inside her dream. Red-faced, in the end, Naruto fainted from too much stimulation happening, leaving the sleeping woman to play with his body as she please. He won't lie. But being molested by a woman that is very beautiful in his eyes, it feels very stimulating. When Naruto opened his eyes in the morning, he can't help but to sweat dropped, seeing so many boxed gifts stacking on top of each other at the edge of the room. Whose boxes are those? Walked to the stack of gifts, Naruto took one small box with a little note on top of it, and he immediately sweat dropped. The writing it was beautiful, so beautiful that he cannot read some part of it, but from the part he could read, he realized that the box is a gift from a female merchant that live in eastern district of Konoha for him. A get well gift, that is. Geez, he just got a few small wounds, and these many boxes is the first sight he sees in the morning. He just still cannot comprehend just how desirable he is in the eyes of the female population in this world, and if he can be honest with himself, thinking about it alone is enough for him to blush in embarrassment. Ahem. Naruto-sama, I've sorted the other get well gifts you got and put it in your house's storage. The familiar voice of his manager, Shizune, hit Naruto's eardrums after he put back the small gift on top of other gifts very carefully. It might be small, but considering what he had seen yesterday, it might hold something very expensive. More so, it was a gift for him. He never had any gift from anyone throughout his life. Thank you Shizune, Naruto said to his manager with a red face. Last night incident, for some reason, Shizune still looked normal even after she molested his body for a full night, though, she muttered something about regret and not fully awake or something like that. She confused him. After she heard his thanks, Shizune clasped her sleeve together and bowed gracefully, seemingly very happy after she heard said thanks. Of course, Naruto-sama, will you spend your time to play? Your private guards bought some new games you haven't played before yesterday. I'm pretty sure you'd like to try these. The beautiful woman with jet black hair said after she walked to the television and took out several game cartridges, and seeing such things, Naruto gulped down his saliva in desire. What? Hess, a teen that never touch any game, thank you very much. But still. No, I would like to go to the library today. Even though in this world he worked as something like noble thing, the date things are more like he accepting a hangout invite from some women that interested on him. Library is still the place where he worked for 3 years since his failed attempt to become a ninja. In the library, he would always feel at home. Plus, there is still a few questions about this strange world he would like to get answered, and books could be his problem solver in such situation. Alright, Naruto blinked a few times when the woman quickly accepted his demand when just yesterday, she was forcing him to stay in this room. Strange, then I shall make sure everything's ready for your departure. Departure? The library is like just 300 meters away from the hospital, right? What things he would need just to move from the hospital to the building 300 meters away. Oh well, let's just stay silent for now. From the window on the hospital's second floor, where his room is located, Naruto's sweat dropped when he saw 100 or so elite kunoichi lining up in front of the building, each clad in professional Anbus attire, though instead of different animal, the masks they don in that of a fox, with a kanji for woman in the mask's forehead. And in the middle of this lining up army, a regal golden wagon could be seen being carried by 4 slightly muscular women. Even from this position, Naruto know those golds is probably real. He doesn't know what to say. This world is getting stranger and stranger by each minute. But the good part is, Hess liking this world more and more compared to the world where he came from. After all, what kind of man he would be if he doesn't like the fact all women in the world is desiring him. The crazy man, that's what. Naruto-sama, your attire's ready. Naruto turned his head when he heard Shizune's voice from the door direction, and when he did, his sweat drop got bigger, simply because she was holding several layers of kimono for a noble in her hands. May I have the honor to change your clothes? For a few seconds, Naruto did not answer, his eyes still stuck on the thick layers of kimono in Shizune's hands with trepidation. That doesn't seem light at all. No thanks, I just think normal clothes would be fine. Naruto said in the end while scratching the back of his head nervously. It's one thing to be treated like a noble or some kind big shot, but it is another thing if he must use such thick clothes just to go to the library a few hundred meters away from his current location. Thank you very much, but no, just no. For the first time since he met her, Naruto saw shock in Shizune's eyes. Did he say something wrong? But Naruto-sama, what is the meaning of my life if I don't change your clothes today? The question. It was funny if Naruto can be honest, but seeing Shizune's eyes, Naruto is pretty sure the woman was currently broken, and it's not a joke. She's broken just because he refused to change his clothes. I didn't say anything about you not changing my clothes, I just said I would like normal clothes for today. Just like a light that switched on, life returned to Shizune's eyes the moment she heard his words, and gracefully, she bowed down a little with a soft professional smile on her face. Then I shall search for more normal clothes for you to wear today, Naruto-sama, please excuse me. The woman said softly, then turned around and walked away from the room with nothing but professionality in her steps. One wouldn't have believed it if he were to tell them such professional-looking woman broke a few seconds ago, just because he said something normal to his own ears. Thinking like this, Naruto let out a sigh. That was shocking. From what he could see, his words and action hold too much weight. Is he really that big shoot? For all intent, Naruto, one who had lived his life with nothing but a small apartment and so little amount of money just cannot picture it. He just can't picture himself can get any food just by ordering someone to get it. He just can't picture himself get his attire changed by someone else. And he just can't picture he is so desired by all female population in the world, so much that one even waging war against a daimyo's army just to get a chance to get his attention. Yes, it is happening, but his mind's still not fully catching up. He really needs some alone time right now. Later, gulp. That was intense, Naruto said with a pair of shaken eyes after he reached the safety of the golden wagon, where he immediately took his seat on the soft and fluffy sofa. Across of him, Shizune is looking at the glass window covered by crimson curtain with a frown on her face. Yes, that was more intense than usual crowd it seems after your visit to the library. You cannot go back to the hospital, Naruto-sama, your safety is no longer guaranteed in such a place. I suggest we go back to your house in the middle of your district. Absent-mindedly, Naruto merely nodded as he lay his back against the soft material of the sofa's backrest. When he walked out from the hospital, Naruto expected many things, but he never expected hundreds of females lining up just to see him, some even acting like someone who were high and drug crazy. That was what crossed his mind when Naruto saw hundreds of women pushing and hurting each other just to get closer to him. Fortunately, he was circled by elite ambush that guaranteed his safety. That, and the hundred of guards that came along with the wagon, also helped to push the crowd away from his location. Remembered the faces of those women screaming his name for a few seconds, Naruto's whole body shivered in fear. It is one thing to see one, two, or some women looking at him with desires in their eyes. The worst that could happen, probably only him getting flustered, but hundreds of them. And their eyes that was no longer desires. Once again, Naruto's whole body shivered in fear. The way those women looking at him, it is like dogs who had been starving and thirsty for life, only to see a small oasis that is him. And the oasis it is just a small oasis that could only fill a few stomachs, another thing that made them crazy enough to hurt other women around them. And such sight it's making him afraid. Soft, warmness, and love fills Naruto when Shizune silently went to his side and pulled him closer and embracing him into her chest. All the while, one of her hands already secured on his waist while her other hand running through his hair, an act that slowly calming him down. Of course, blush still appears on Naruto's face. Don't be afraid, Naruto-sama, I'll protect you. Why yeah, thank you Shizune. Flustered, Naruto can only hide his face on Shizune's nape, inhaling her vanilla-scented perfume while his hands shyly clutching on her kimono. She's so romantic. It feels good to have someone at last. Knock, knock. And after that, Shizune kept her silent after she knocked the wall 2 times, a signal for the women outside to start carry the wagon. Thus, they went to the library. The library is silent. Well, as silent as it can be after the people previously inside ordered to walk away by his head and guards. He doesn't know who is the head honestly, but asking would be funny, and thus, Naruto keep his silent as he sat in one of the chairs while reading another book about common sense. Behind him, Shizune stood while massaging his shoulders as gently as possible. Of course, around him, he was once again circled by several women that seemingly focused to keep their eyes around the library, just in case someone want to attack him. So high-end. Fortunately, none of them talk or something like that, seemingly content to give him the silence he wanted. Anyway. Another book about common sense already read, Naruto found out some more interesting information about the current world he's living in. It seems in this world, there was no concept of masculine and feminine. No wonder, considering from what he had seen, the women here seem to be on equal ground to men, which is a good thing, because without any concept of masculine and feminine, then sexist won't happen anytime soon. But such thing would also make a few big different. Naruto thought while tapping on his chin, deep in thought with nothing but seriousness on his face. Without the concept of masculine and feminine, then the concept of tomboy for some females or sissy for some males would also not exist. Will it have an impact to attire? He doesn't know, but then again, he hopes it won't. He likes seeing women clad in beautiful dress, thank you very much. Naruto-sama, you have closed your book for a few minutes now, would you like to have a drink? Snap. At once, right after Shizune said her words, several heads of his guard snapped to his direction, waiting for his command, and seeing this, Naruto blushed bashfully. Ooh, warm milk and another book, this time about me please. Without any word said, several guards disappear from the circle, though, after they did, other guards from out of nowhere suddenly appears and filled the empty slots almost immediately. Behind him, Shizune suddenly massaging his scalp, something that made Naruto shiver in pleasure for a brief second. Naruto-sama, are you perhaps want to know how the normal people see about you? Why yeah, that's right, just as he thought. With such power Naruto hold in this world, there is no wonder he had a book dedicated to him. Hell, instead of a book, there was probably several books written about him, considering even one of the Sannin, Tsunade Senju seems to hold him in high regard. And again, it's good he has books written about him, he really wants to knows what he is in this world. Yes, he knows that he is the only desirable male, but what is his job exactly? He seems like a noble, and his name seems to hold more weight than the fire daimyo himself, considering his manager was quick and without mercy, scratched off his plan with the ruler of the Fire Nation. It was frightening if he can be honest. Just what is he here, exactly? It took his guards no longer than a few minutes before in the end, they returned with a glass of warm milk and several books with embarrassing titles on their covers. Naruto, the God's Gift to Women. Naruto, the Gentle. Etc. By the end of sorting, Naruto picked the most normal among everything, a simple looking book with a normal looking title. Biography of Naruto Uzumaki. The biograph with this, he should be able to know the last question he holds deep in his heart. Why he is not a ninja. Hyuga Mansion. What? Are you sure he is in the library? Deep in the Hyuga Mansion, more specifically, in the clan's training ground, a tall young woman with a long, silky deep blue hair can be seen wearing nothing but pure white sport bra for top and long white hakama for the bottom. Her breasts are so large that even the bra is about to rip though. And currently, her white lavender tinted eyes is staring at someone from her clan with something akin to cold glare. Yes, clan leader, Hinata-sama, one of the guards patrolling the west side of Konoha, said he saw a gold wagon being carried to the direction of the library, and another guard patrolling near the library said she saw Naruto-sama entered the library with his elite guards in tow. I see. The tall woman, named Hinata, muttered softly as she walked to the nearest tree and took her towel from it, which she used to wipe out her heavy sweat from her today training. On her cheeks, a telltale of blush can be seen, and deep in her eyes, there is nothing but hungry desire. Then send one messenger to the library to send a message to Naruto that it'd like to visit him if possible. If he says no, cut the messenger's head. Also, tell the chefs to make a bento full of highly delicious food, make sure they do it right. If I heard my Naruto complain about it, their heads will off. You understood, Hinata-sama. With a bow of nothing but reverence, the Hyuga clan member disappears to deliver the clan head's order. And after she was all alone, Hinata turned her face to the direction of the library and activates her Byakugan, though, frown martyr face, when she saw how Shizune seemingly content massaging Naruto's shoulders. And from his focus, he doesn't realize that sometimes, Shizune would slip her hands into his shirt to touch his bare skin. Fucking bitch. Sneer of nothing but pure hatred can be seen on Hinata's face for a second, killing intent, and pure chakra washed away the training ground with anger and quickly wasted it. But as quick as it came, it disappeared as Hinata placed her towel on her neck and walked to the direction of the bath. As her guard tell Naruto of her visit and her chefs preparing a feast for him, there is one thing that she still needs to do. She must look her best. Yamanaka Mansion. He refused. One young woman with very long platinum blonde hair jaw dropped when her messenger returned with the bad news. And here she already put her makeup and lipstick to look as best as she could for Naruto. She even already put her best looking ninja attire, that's showing her midriff and several other of her body parts, in hope Naruto gained desire when he saw her, just as she gains desire every time she saw his face. With large pair of breasts, tall body, and sharp and mature face, she might look normal to other men, but now she already wears her makeup, she should be able to make Naruto feel something for her, or so she thought at first. One Ino Yamanaka held back her crocodile tears, her fight end before it can even start. Ahaha, princess, I told you Naruto-san won't like to get his study interrupted, the tall and powerful looking blonde man said after he laughed lightly after seeing his own daughter got a bad news from their clan messenger. Beside him, his wife slapped his shoulder without any really harm done, but her eyes show sympathize to her daughter. Ino, my dear, you were in the same class with Naruto-san back in academy, yes? Then you should knows by now that he won't like you just because you put some makeup. Power. Back when Naruto was in the academy, he was already a heartthrob for many females, girls and women alike, students and teachers alike, each of them had different faces and bodies. But at the end of the day, Naruto desired one thing, and one thing only from anyone who want him. Power. For those who had power and gain his interest, Naruto would let them enter his private guards, where they could bask in his presence every single day. An envious job to all women in the world. But I'm plenty strong already. No Yamanaka, the lone heiress of the Yamanaka clan, whined as she knelt down at the edge of the room, with a gloomy cloud hang on top of her head. And seeing this, her mother pat her ever gently with a wry smile. Then you're just not strong enough, my daughter. Back with Naruto. Finished with his read about himself, Naruto closed the book in his hands without any words. Say, Shizune, am I a bad person? Naruto said suddenly to his manager that still massaging his shoulders and nape with nothing but gentleness. And when she heard his question, she narrowed her eyes. Of course not, Naruto-sama, did the writer wrote something that offend you? If so, give me the order, I will have their head by tomorrow. No, no. From such sudden death threat to the poor, unknown writer, Naruto shook his head very quickly to calm down his obsessive manager. Wait, no. If what he read is right, then not only Shizune, but all women in the world held over obsessive feelings toward him. He needs to take care not to say a wrong thing from now on. I want to hear what do you think of me, Naruto said softly in the end, and when Shizune's chakra pressure seems lessen, Naruto let out a small sigh of relief that was dangerous for his heart. What is he? Even the book didn't tell him anything, but there is one thing he could glean from the book. He is the main perpetrator of the many wars that is happening in this world, small, big, internal, or external, most of those wars happened and happening because of him. Hinata Hyuga, that now a clan head. She rebelled against her father and Hyuga's council and killed all of them, raising in power with nothing but iron fist. For what? To get his attention. With it even now still trying and failing to wage war against Konoha. It is because Kuretsuchi, the granddaughter of the third Tsuchikage, that wanted to have him for herself. The Zugakure that now split into two. It is because in one side is the female side that support an idea to capture him for Mizu, while the other side want to befriend Konoha because he is here. Many more. And many more. Even Uchiha clan, said to be wiped out from the Konoha because Itachi Uchiha in his original world met different demise in this world. The Uchiha in this world planned to rebel by capturing him for a ransom to the whole world. The one who killed them. The kodoichihad, the woman that without hesitation killed every Uchiha from young to old, with nothing but cold blood after she heard such plan from the council. The demonic Uchiha, Mikoto, now one of the biggest figurehead in the world because after her deed, she was given wealth without measure and armies by all countries. Right now, she is the giant figure of Konoha, said to be his shield that will not let even a strand of his hair get cut down. After his wounds in the forest of death, it is even said the demonic Mikoto locked herself inside her chamber to get 1,000 whipped to her back after her failure. Is he bad? Naruto think that yes, he is a bad person. You are the warmest sun that descend onto this bleak world. Just before Shizune can't say anything, the large door of the library was opened, and from it, a tall and very beautiful Hyuga woman enter, followed by several Hyuga guards behind her, and Shess wearing a very exaggerate black dress that give her an evil, but sexy woman vibe. Just like the others, in her eyes, Naruto sees nothing but desires for him. They are the silent moon who judged right and wrong. The woman walked to his direction with grace, eyes seemingly never leave his form as she getting closer and closer. And when she is right in front of him, the woman knelt down to his level and took his right palm with her two gloved hands, then kissed the back of said palm as gently as possible. Again, her eyes never leaving his face as she doing this. And of course you are the half of my heart, my dearest, would I have the honor to taste your sweet and captivating lips? As the mysterious beautiful woman said this, her face was getting closer and closer into his own face, something that makes Naruto can't help but to feel charmed by her beauty. And thus, when she asked the question, he nodded unconsciously. Then please excuse me. Two soft gloved hands cup Naruto by cheeks, and before he can realize what is happening, the woman already leaned forward her face and captured his lips in a very rough kiss. MNNN. Wet throaty moan came out from Naruto's lips when the woman dug her tongue deep into his lips, caressing and ravaging every inch and every centimeters of his inner mouth. All the while, her two fingers stuck into his ears, making him can only hear the lewd wet noise Shess making as Shess kissing him. Fortunately for his sanity, the woman broke the kiss by herself not long after, raising her lovely skirt as if she just finished their normal greeting. And now, in her eyes there is nothing but love. Naruto-kun, glad to see you healthy and well in this day. This Hinata has bring with her lunches for two, would you like to eat together? Wait, what? For a brief second, Naruto blinked quickly when he realized what the woman was saying. Looking on, he notices her white lavender-tinted eyes, her silky dark blue hair, and he even took notice of her familiar warm and shy smile. Wait, this is Hinata. Taller than him, this woman is about 175 centimeters in height, with big breasts covered in her dress and wide hips clad in a rather long, wavy silk skirt that reaches the floor. She looks like a 19 years old no matter how hard he looked. You yeah of course Hinata, I'd like that. Older Hinata or not, Naruto let out a small smile to the woman, something that made her face turn red almost immediately. Fortunately, this woman that looked like an older version of Hinata is more familiar with him, and thus, she doesn't go crazy and lustful, just because she saw his smile. If nothing else, she looks happy and bashful to get a simple smile from him. That's good, she's more normal than Tsunade. Then, please excuse me, the woman said lovingly as she took the seat beside him and clapped her hands thrice. In no times, the guard she brings already placed several foods on top of the table, so quick that it was almost magical. Though, already saw even more impressive speed from his guards, Naruto isn't really that surprised and simply nodded when he sees several plates of food suddenly appear in front of him. All of these looks nice, Hinata. Ifufu, thank you for the compliment, my dear Naruto-kun, but as I am the guest here, why don't you take the first bite? I would love to hear your thought about the food my clan's chefs made. Oh okay. There was some kind of mysterious tone when Hinata said her words, as if she was hoping that he found the food is really good. If not, someone gonna get hurt. That was what her tone told him. Gulp. Naruto gulped down in nervousness when he thought like this. Will someone die if he says the food isn't delicious? But let's just quickly eat and say everything is delicious. With that, his words probably won't kill anyone innocent, but to be safe, let's just not talk that much. For some reason Hinata in this world give him shivers like no others. He's kinda terrified of her now. Yesterday was enlightening if Naruto can't say it himself. Hinata, for all of her dark and seemingly cold vibe, was very gentle and loving toward him. She spoon-fed him with love in her eyes. She bashfully pulled her chair closer to him and put her head on his shoulder, and she even gave him a loving kiss when they parted ways. If Shizune is akin to that big sister, then Hinata is definitely a girlfriend, one that is seemingly happy because yesterday he was pretty accepting of her advance. Did that mean he was really a douse bag that always refused her advance before? He doesn't know, but the things he gleaned from the book about himself and from the women around him seemed to contradict each other. From the book, he was like some kind of cold, yet likable character, one that demands power and respect from any females he met. But from what Hinata told him, he was the one who saved her from loneliness when she was nothing but a weak-willed and bullied girl. And her words made him remember Hinata from his world. Silent, shy, and always nervous little girl who kept shuddering despite her status as the heiress of the great Hyuga clan. Did me in this world do the right thing? Laying on the large, very high-class king-size bed, while wearing nothing but a simple-looking, but actually very expensive white pajama, Naruto muttered as he thinking about everything Hinata had told him yesterday. Was it the right thing to do? He saved Hinata from her days of loneliness, but once it happened, her rage toward her so-called family exploded. Within nothing but a day, she killed her own father and Hyuga's council members, then took the seat of the clan head. To the biography, he was like a devil who whispered bad things to a little girl. But to Hinata, he was her hero who saved her from a cold, unloved life. What is right? What is wrong? He muttered while covering his eyes using his arm, a frown marring his youthful face. Back in the past, he wouldn't want to think about such a thing. His dream is one thing, and one thing only, to be the strongest ninja there is and become the next Hokage. But in this world, he was forced to see that every action he did had consequences. Ah, so confusing. Shizune, are you there? Climbed off of his bed, Naruto called his guardian that probably standing outside the door, and just as he thought, the moment he said his words, the woman come in with a bow full of reverence. On her face, a small smile could be seen. She is happy that it was her name that was called by him early in the morning. Yes, I'm here, Naruto-sama, would you like to eat breakfast now? Not yet. Naruto shook his head, it is still too early for a breakfast anyway. Could you get me all information about all women work under me? There are some things that I need to check. Without any other expression on her face except for reverence, Shizune bowed down once again. It shall be done before the lunch time, Naruto-sama. And thus, she disappeared, leaving him all alone in his room, though in her place, a woman with a fox-shaped mask appeared, kneeling down on one knee before the door. Unlike Shizune, the woman stays silent, probably only will move when he ordered her to do something. Was he that cold toward everyone under him that none of them dared to greet him? You? Yes, my lord. The masked woman's words were quick and professional, definitely not a voice he expected from a woman who is head over heels for him. And this makes Naruto pretty sure of one thing. Naruto, who lived in this world, he didn't know how blessed he is. Such a thing it must be changed. Call the top 10 combatants among the guards here after that, carry me to the bathroom, you all can wash my body together there, Naruto said without any expression whatsoever on his face. However, there was no coldness in his tone. It's pretty hard. But he was known to be a person who placed power above anything else. He cannot change that single fact out of the blue, or there would be some questions that need to be answered. Plus, with this, there would be healthy rivalries between his private guards. Why yes, at once my lord. But such an excited voice, the fox-masked woman disappeared after she left a single shadow clone to watch and guard him. On top of his bed, Naruto put his hands on his face, hiding the shame and embarrassed look he having from the woman's clone. This should be alright, right? He wants attention and love, and his guards desire him so much that walking side to side with him alone can be considered as a prize to them. If his top guards get another kind of prize, it should be fine, right? Oh, Kami, I hope I won't faint from embarrassment inside the bathroom. It took the woman less than a few minutes before in the end, she brought along another 9 of fox-masked women, huh? So that means she is one of the 10 top combatants, yes? Then again, there was just no way that Shizune would leave him with a weak guard, so pretty understandable there. "My lord H, how should we carry you?" The woman with the most pressure around her said after she stepped forward. A small shudder was evident in her tone, a sign of her feelings of nervousness and excitement. After he heard the question, Naruto's face returned to its poker face as he spread his hands to the left and right. "First and second strongest, carry me bridal style, left and right respectively." "Ah, I said it. I really said it." Bridal style is a romantic gesture, but at the end of the day, he would be too embarrassed to be carried by one female, while his arms wrapped around her neck, and would be forced to focus his attention on her face. So, why not just 2? With 2 women carrying him, left and right respectively, he would be able to focus his attention forward in theory, all the while, his left hand can clutch into the woman in his left and vice versa with his right. Hi. 2 women closed on him, and Naruto stiffened a little when both used their arms together to princess carrying him, though, the moment they lifted him off, Naruto cannot stop his urge as a blush appears on his cheeks. Only a small blush, fortunately. "Alright, I'm comfortable now, go." Without any other words from him, the 2 started to carry him with nothing but gentleness, though pretty slow to make sure he won't fall. His theory was a little off though. He saw some books that had pictures of a man carrying a woman in bridal style, and the woman's hands were long enough to wrap around the man's neck, even if she was just around his lower chest. But now being carried, Naruto found a small flaw in his theory. The 2 who carrying him have a pair of large breasts. His arms cannot reach their neck from such a thing. Keeping his calm despite such a situation, Naruto in the end merely clutches on their attire with his poker face. And thus, he was carried to the bathroom by 2 of his guard's strongest, followed by other 8 of his strongest combatants. Later, it was a piece of heaven. Sitting on a small stool with nothing but his boxer, Naruto's face is blank as 10 nude but fox-masked women circle him and press their soapy breasts against every part of his body. Front, back, left, and right, chest, back, hands, and even legs, caged in the middle of the softness of their breasts, is enough to make Naruto's brain circuit get fried. Of course, not only their breasts, his 10 elite guards are also using their hands to scrub some parts that their breasts cannot reach, like the between of his fingers for example. Of course, by this moment, there is something standing, and it is not justice. Wait, now that he thinks again, without females having lust toward males and vice versa, how would the man and women make children? Without lust, there should be no reaction, and without reaction, then men won't have erections. How did they make children? Oh, wait, even without lust, if you rubbed it long enough, it would stand up, right? Hii. Pleasant shivers jolted Naruto awake from his thought the moment one of his guards slipped her hand into his boxer and started to pump it up and down with silence, probably with the intention to clean it and nothing else. Though he was really hesitant to believe this as he could see that all of his guards' necks is red, a sign of them being flustered. Seeing this, Naruto's eyes widened slightly. Oh. Women here cannot lust after men except him, stupid. He can make them excited. Naruto-sama, your thing here is standing, would all of us have the honor to rubs it until you come? All of us? 10 pairs of breasts pressing on his body and 10 pairs of hands rubbing his jr. Imagining it alone, Naruto's mind become blank once again, but nonetheless, he nodded at their strange and perverted request. Why yes, but it'll only allow you all to make it come one time only. Hi. Excited, all of the guards pressed their soft and sexy bodies against his even more than before, all the while, their long and feminine hands clumped on his waist and began to play with his most sensitive area. After that, it was like a blur to Naruto. Heaven? Hell? He doesn't know, but when his mind returned, he was already inside a bathtub with 2 guards flanking his front and back, scrubbing his body with foaming scrub in their hands. What happened? He doesn't know. But at the end of the day, fuck it. It was so good that his mind turned into mush. Maybe he should limit his bathing his elite guards to 1 time a week instead of his initial plan, which is to do it every single day. Yeah. 1 time a week sounds like a good plan. Later, clad in a normal-looking sleeveless short kimono for males for the top and long black pants for the bottom, Naruto stares at his own reflection in the mirror and straightens his armband. To his eyes, he looks normal. Being a 15-year-old teen, Naruto stood about 155 centimeters with untamed blonde hair on top of his head. His eyes are cerulean blue in color, ones that could glisten just like gems if seen from some angles. And his skin is peachy white because his job as a librarian forced him to stay in a cool room from morning till afternoon. A normal-looking boy without anything special about him. That was what crossed Naruto's mind when he stares at his own reflection. But in this world, he is practically the person with the highest priority and hierarchy, with no one being his equal. No one. Wars waged for his attention. People killed each other to gain his favor. And as this happened throughout the world, here he was, looking calm as if nothing else mattered except for himself, playing with so little time for work that at first sight would be like normal visits to some kind of friends. A blessed world for one Naruto Uzumaki, but a hellish world for other people. He won't let it keep happening. Thinking like this, Naruto nodded to his reflection and walked out of his bedroom toward the dining room. Behind him, shadows took form as two of his guards flanked his blind side. For now, let's just have breakfast. The lavish feast was spread around the dining table as Naruto took his seat on the most beautiful chair at the edge of said table. He won't ask about the feast, not at all. Behind him, his two guards straightened their backs with their hands behind their waists, looking cool and professional. Some of you, go and help Shizune sort the thing I told her to do. I want it done by the time I finish my breakfast. Hi. Several feminine voices rang after Naruto said his words, followed by several blurs that appear and disappear into the window of his mansion. Yeah, he lives in a mansion right in the middle of the district named after him. Not something he wants to think about yet. Anyway, after a few seconds passed, Naruto began to eat as slowly as possible to give Shizune a little bit more time to use. She said the data would be finished about lunch, so if he ate just a little bit slowly after he sent several guards to help her, she should be finished after he was done eating his breakfast, right? Actually, one of you go to Shizune, tell her to take her time. It won't be good if she was quick, but she missed some information. Naruto said in the end, and another blur ran toward the window and disappeared from his sight. Of course, his main concern is not the thing he said at all and more about what would Shizune do to herself, just in case she failed to meet his expectation. The kodoichihad, the so-called demonic Uchiha, a title she gained after she took Itachi's place to murder every Uchiha clan member in this world, locked herself in her room and punished herself to clean her shame after her failure to protect him against small wounds. He doesn't want to know what would Shizune do to herself if she fails to meet his direct order to finish her assignment after breakfast. Nope, don't wanna. Later, Naruto-sama, here is the thing you told me to gather. A few hours after Naruto finished his breakfast, he was sitting in front of his large television, playing a rather interesting game he saw. It was good honestly, but now Shizune is back, it's time for work. Thank you, Shizune. Taking the thick stack of papers from the woman's hands, Naruto got a small bow from her as he walked to the nearest table and chair and put the papers on top of the former while he took his seat on the latter. The first paper, it was Shizune's data. Name: Shizune Kato. Age: 28. Occupation: Naruto Uzumaki's assistant. Classification: Medical Nin. Ninja rank: Jonin. Overall power: High Jonin. Specialization: Medical Ninjutsu, Poison-based Ninjutsu, Fuinjutsu. Wages: 500,000 Ryo per month and a kiss on the cheek from Naruto Uzumaki every 2 weeks. Okay. It was good data, and he also never expected Shizune to be a high Jonin level Kunoichi, despite he knew that she was pretty strong. And what's up with the wages? 500,000 Ryo alone is pretty cheap for someone of her caliber. At the very least, he would want 1,000,000 Ryo if he were Shizune, considering he didn't see any day off for her. Did she let such a thing off just because he kissed her on the cheek every 2 weeks? Here, Naruto frowned. Is his kiss alone worth a whooping 250,000 Ryo? No wonder his guards were so happy to bathe him. Shizune, how many guards do I have in total? Naruto said softly to his assistant, his eyes never leaving the data paper as he read them one by one, and for each paper, his eyes got narrower and narrower. Except for Shizune, the others' wages are just about 300,000 Ryo per month, followed by seeing Naruto Uzumaki every day. Not only that, the weakest among his guards has an overall power of mid-jonin, while the rest is above it. This is a direct abuse of special power. Counting everyone, including me, then you have about 521 women under you, Naruto-sama. I see. 521 women with wages far less than normal jonin under the Hokage. Unbelievable. Unacceptable. Shizune, does my guards have a leader or something like that? Asking something like this would be suspicious honestly, but Naruto cannot help it. He really wants to know about the situation of the women working under him. He really wants to know whether Naruto here was a good or bad guy. But he already had the feeling. Oh no, they don't. Naruto-sama. For them, your order is one and absolute. No one can order them around except for you. Just as he thought. Thinking like this, Naruto let out a small smile of sadness as he closed his eyes and leaned his back against the backrest of the chair he sat on. The tyrant, that's what Naruto was before he appears. The tyrant who wanted all powers in the world in his palm and no one else, a definite total bad guy. Silent, Naruto tilted his head backward so he can stare at the ceiling, trying and failing to find a way to fix all of the problems previous Naruto Uzumaki have made. Just as he was thinking like this, his sight was suddenly covered by a sight of the large bosom of Shizune that loomed above his head, and gently, her hands went to his scalp and rubbed away his headache. Massaged by a beautiful woman while her large breasts were right in front of his face, Naruto blushed immediately. Then Naruto-sama, I hope you don't mind the ugly side of my bosom, I just want to messages your head, because you look like having a headache. Naruto heard a nervous voice from Shizune, and hearing it, Naruto became silent for a few seconds. Ugly? Back in his world, most men liked big-breasted women, and pretty much had less interest in small-breasted women, but seriously? Ugly? I don't mind it, Shizune, I used your bosom as pillow, remember? It would be very suspicious if he were to say he like a woman with a large pair of breasts, considering if he were to believe Shizune's words, then most men here must hate such a thing, and even will call it ugly if it were too big like Shizune's. Strange world really. Honestly, Naruto was also neutral toward such a thing at first, but after he felt the softness of breasts when he slept with Shizune, and this morning when he was caught in the middle of 10 pairs of breasts, Naruto, at last, understood the men's, in his world, fascination toward women with big breasts. In this world, such a thing seems to be in reverse though, as for why, he is yet to know the reason. IICT, then would you like me to press my bosom against your face, Naruto-sama? Yes. Hesitation will only make Shizune think he was lying just to make her feel better, and thus, when she offered a bosom press to his face, Naruto immediately agreed. No, it's not because of his newly gained fascination with female breasts, of course. Yes, honest. Well, maybe a little. Then please excuse me. Using one of her hands to lift her breasts, very slowly, Shizune pressed the under part of her bosom clad in black soft kimono against his face, covering not only his sight, but also his nose and mouth because of her large size. Ah. As his sight turned dark, Naruto lose his ability to speak, as he can only smell the fragrant scent of Shizune's vanilla perfume, tinted with a slight twinge of her natural mature scent. Her smell is nice enough that his feet curled for a brief second. At the same time, his heart feels calm as he slowly drifted to sleep by Shizune's calming heartbeat. Who the hell said big breasts are ugly? And he will beat them with nothing but his fists. Naruto-sama, do please tell me the moment you want me to stop pressing my ugly bosom against your perfect face. Naruto heard Shizune's professional and loving voice as she continues massaging his shoulders, but when his mind caught up to her words, Naruto inwardly snorted. If not for the stupid act of the previous Naruto Uzumaki, then he would love to do nothing but do something like this forever. Lol, to sleep with his face pressed into a large pair of breasts. Stupid Naruto. Cursing himself, Naruto in the end let Shizune's heartbeat lull him to a short nap with his face on a beautiful woman's breasts. It's a dream come true. Zzz. Later, Naruto-sama, please wake up, Jiraiya-sama is looking for you. A soft, loving voice called on to Naruto as he rubbed his half-lidded eyes. What? Shizune, what time is it right now? Naruto asked the moment he woke up from his short nap, eyes looking around, and took notice of the chair and desk on the edge of the room, where he fell asleep. Shizune must have placed him on the sofa when she realized he was asleep. Whether she continued to bosom press him, he doesn't know, but the answer is probably yes, simply because his face feels kinda tingly pleasantly right now. 1 PM, Naruto-sama, you've missed your lunch, would you like for me to tell the chef to make something for you to eat? No need. Softly, Naruto waved away the woman's concern as he simply stood and stretched his limbs. I'm still full from the breakfast, just skip my lunch for today. How funny for him to fall into a morning short sleep just a few hours after he woke up from his night's sleep. Then again, sleeping on a woman's breasts was just too comfortable. So much that Hess probably gonna get addicted to it. Understood, Naruto-sama, would you like to meet Jiraiya-sama immediately? He is in the dining room currently. Alright, let's meet him for now. Naruto nodded calmly, and after that, he walked in the direction of the dining room, followed by the beautiful woman named Shizune. Jiraiya, how long he hadn't heard that name. Jiraiya, in his previous world, the man had come a few weeks after Naruto's failed exam. At that time, Naruto was bitter and very untrusting toward anyone else, more so toward someone who claimed to be one of the 3 legendary ninjas that for some reason took interest in him and wanted him to be his apprentice. The con artist, that was what Jiraiya to Naruto at first. But day after day, week after week, then man didn't give up. But then again, even after Jiraiya brought the 3rd Hokage to be proof of his claim as a member of the Sannin, Naruto still refused to become the old man's apprentice. To Naruto, the man was too suspicious. 6 months passed, and the old man disappeared, leaving nothing but a single scroll for him. From the scroll, Naruto learned everything. Jiraiya, the man who brings such a bitter memory. My godson. You just wake up. Geez, you're becoming lazier and lazier these days. The moment Naruto walked into the dining room, the tall man with long white hair was already beside him, patting his back in a good-natured manner. Of course, his voice was tinted by a small amount of judging. Probably because Naruto still has a pair of half-lidded eyes. I was busy and got some headache. There was something that I need to do, that's why I look like this. Honestly, it was simply because Shizune's breasts were too damn comfortable. But to the people in this world, such a thing would probably sound unbelievable. That's why Naruto was quick to make up another reason for his tired-looking face. OHO. Seemingly not believing what he heard, the perverted old man moved his eyebrow up and down in a rather teasing manner. Something that made Naruto want to kick the man, literally. Are you sure it was not because you know I was coming today to invite you to our usual BROTHEL? I heard they have a new batch of beautiful girls. You? Just as Naruto wanted to say something, he stopped. What? Brothel? Beautiful girls? He thought there was no desire in this world. Did he read the wrong book? Yep, I even bring some photos for you to see. The moment the old man took out some photos from his pocket, Naruto's sweat dropped almost instantly. Flat chest, thin body, narrow hips. There is no femininity within those girls at all. This is beautiful. I'm not interested, gonna go back to my study, see you around, old man. Turned around, Naruto walked away from one Jiraiya that had his mouth gaping wide, feeling shocked like no other. Then Naruto rejected his offer to go to the brothel. But I already booked it under your name. Bo's gonna pay those beautiful and expensive women now if not Naruto. Thinking like this, Jiraiya turned into a statue, shocked beyond belief by his own godson out of character attitude. But Naruto himself, narrowing his eyes in nothing but focus while walking toward the study room. Guard. The woman appears beside him right after he called, and without any pause, Naruto gave her his order. Get me all the books about common sense, man and woman relationship, and some books of smut in the library. Understood. But the silent word, the woman assassin disappeared. Enough is enough, Naruto thought silently deep in his mind. He was holding back himself too much. He must know the real difference between this world and his previous world before he could make some kind of mistake that would make some heads turn. This world Naruto Uzumaki already made enough problems. He doesn't want to stack another problem on top of those. Hours later. Alright, this should be the end of my study about this world. Naruto muttered lowly under his breath after he put down his pen. He was wrong. The thing that doesn't exist in this world is not desire but lust. Though even without lust, pleasure is still there, and with pleasure, men and women can convince a child after their marriage. The men and women in this world, sex is not a desirable act, simply because without lust for each other, the only way to gain pleasure is to literally force each other on their partner. Simply said, sex is a war between a pair of husband and wife. The one who won will feel somewhat limited pleasure because they can do anything they want, while the other might feel a little pain because they were on the receiving end. Naruto was confused at first, honestly. Why would the one who got the receiving end won't get pleasure and got pain instead? It was imagination. Where did lust come from, exactly? Imagination is the answer. Back in his previous world, there were so many kinks for sex, from light to heavy, and each people may like some while hating some. Why? Because their imagination birthed lust. If you still don't understand, let's think of it like this. For the men in this world, they would feel pleasure when they rubbed their JR, but it would take a rather long time, simply because they don't have enough imagination to make said JR stand quicker. Now what they will feel if a woman was the one rubbing said JR. Don't forget, they don't have imagination, nor do they have lust to awaken such imagination. Pain, that's the answer. Without any lust, the groin area is the most sensitive area for men population. The only thing they got if it was rubbed without their own hands would be nothing but pain. Of course, the women's side is also the same. Without lust, their groin area won't get wet, and a dry hole equals to painful insertion. Oh wait, it seems in this world, both parties feel pain. Whoever takes charge now that he thinks again, the one who takes charge will feel less pain, that's all. Such a cruel world, this world is. But wait, won't this situation basically clean this world from an act of rape? Leaning his back against the chair's backrest, Naruto let his mind wander once again. Why does the male population in this world seem to think women with less meat on their chests and hips area is beautiful? He is yet to find any hint of the answer to such a question from all of the books he finished. But at the end of the day, he doesn't care. Simply because it would mean he would get the ugliest, most beautiful women as his. Really, this world is too kind to one Naruto Uzumaki. Hey, did you hear? It seems he upped the wages for his subordinate. I even heard the top 10 strongest was allowed to clean his body once a week. Really? He is so kind, honestly, even getting closer to him alone is already a blessing. So true, and from what I heard, after he upped his guards' wages, it seems all of the countries in the elemental nation sent several thousand of applicants to enter his guards. It was probably only a rush after all, their plan was a gamble at most. You know he won't take any guards just from applicant. True, then those applicants. Yep, if I'm right, then the next Naruto exam must be close. The world is at roar the moment one day, Naruto upped the wages of his private guards. The fact that made it more interesting is, he also gave his strongest combatants pretty salivating rewards for them. Bathing him, changing his clothes, carrying him, all of those might seem normal at one glance, but if seen deeper, then it shows something much more interesting fact. Naruto is now letting even ugly women touch him, unlike in the past when he would only let his closest aide and no one else do it. And said the aide was only allowed to change his clothes in the past and nothing else. The world is at roar almost immediately the moment the rumor was spread. Naruto exam. An exam that invites all women that were interested to become Naruto's guard to gather and fight against each other in brutal tests of strength, speed, dexterity, intelligence, and loyalty. And considering unlike ninja exams where there would be some death, the Naruto exam was never accountable for any death, as long the exam was in motion. This made the number of participants never go under 1,000. And it seems this year's number gonna get doubled or tripled after the new rumor about him was spread. This year gonna be exciting. But Naruto exam? Naruto asked as he sat on a chair while reading a rather thick book. Behind him, Shizune's breasts are acting as his pillow while her hands once again massaging him and relaxing every knot on his shoulders. Near his legs, two of his guards also massaged his legs, left and right respectively. A reward for them. Yes, have you forgotten Naruto-sama? It's been 2 years since the last Naruto exam, and in this year, because you're in Konoha shall be the exam's host and accept all incoming participants. I see. Nope, not really. What's the meaning of this Naruto exam exactly? An exam for what? He doesn't understand at all. Time for random bullshit. Any exact number for the participants? At the moment, the number is still increasing Naruto-sama, though just this morning, the number already reached about 2,000 participants. If Naruto were drinking right now, then he would probably already sputtered all of the drink in his mouth from the shock he felt when he heard the number stated by Shizune. But because he didn't, the shock was only shown by the slight widening eyes of his poker face is going good today. I see, then I hope all of them is strong. Yes, I also hope this year's participants isn't as disappointing as the last exam we only got 100 guards 2 years ago. So the exam was a way for women across the world to join his guards. But still, now that he thinks about it again, there is still no order among his guards, and pointing one or some to become sub-leaders will only create animosity between them. This exam can be used to his advantage. Guard, help me spread a rumor. Right after Naruto said his words, several women clad in black and donning fox masks appeared in front of him and kneeled on one knee. They're ready for his order. The rumor would be in the last test. All of the participants that success will gather in the Colosseum and do a battle royale. Everyone from my guards and anyone that ranked Jonin with enough status may also join. As for the reward for the top winners, they will be my right hand, left hand, and the rest may become sub-leaders among my guards. Understood. The women disappeared after they said their words, leaving Naruto that once again continue his study about this world's common sense, just in case there is something that he missed. Power. He in this world was someone who desire power above all else. He cannot change just like that. It must be done as slowly as possible. Naruto-sama, are you sure about that? If you let anyone to join, then I expect Mikoto to be one of my most elite guards by the end of the exam. Naruto said honestly, which got a simple nod from Shizune. The kodoichihad, the woman that is said to be a friend of his late mother, toward him, the woman is more than other women if we talk about her over-obsession and over-protectiveness, so much that in the past, just like the other, she also tried to court him. Naruto rejected her. Not only that, he called her an ugly, big-breasted old woman. The very next day, Mikoto Uchiha was found lying on top of the pool of her own blood after a suicide attempt. Fortunately, she was saved before she could die, and ever since that day, her over-obsessiveness toward Naruto become much worse than usual. It was the woman who trained his guards secretly, making each of them an elite among elites. That was why, when his guards failed to protect him back in the forest of death, she was depressed and decided to punish herself for her failure. To Naruto, she was ugly. And thus, she decided to become a shadow that protects him in secret without showing her ugly face. How can I reject such thing? Attention, love and kindness, that's all he wanted. And Mikoto was going to give him all of those. Why would he in this world reject her? Guard. Another guard appeared from the shadow, and when she does, Naruto turned silent for a few seconds, thinking about what he should say. But in the end, tell Mikoto-san I expect her to be my right-hand woman once the test is over, and also, tell her this good luck. Thus, the woman disappeared just like a shadow, and when she did, Naruto closed the book in his hands and put it on top of the table, with him then softly stood. He stood not because he wanted to move, though. I want to take a nap. Like a blur, Shizune was already sitting on the chair where he sat just now. Obi untied as her kimono loosened, and showing her body clad in thin inner kimono, and around him, several women from his private guards also appear, taking off their hard armors and leaving nothing but the soft part of their attires. Calmly, Naruto took his seat on Shizun's lap, head on her breasts as the woman's hands moved and tied her kimono back in place, blanketing him with her silky kimono. Naruto-sama, sleep well. Naruto-sama, sleep well. Naruto-sama, sleep well. One by one, his guard said this as they pressed their pillowy breasts against several parts of his body, then gently rocked said breasts to lull him to sleep. And by the end, only one guard remains not pressing her breasts to him, with Naruto's body can no longer be seen except for his face. Of course, the last said guard is right in front of him, fidgeting nervously. She is the one who has the biggest pair of breasts among his guards. And Naruto-sama, sleep well. And after she said this, Naruto's world turned dark as the last woman pressed her large pair of breasts against his face that is mushed in the middle of this woman and Shizun's breasts. Oh, wait, all of his body is mushed by several pairs of breasts. That's really getting addicted. Aged by several heavenly softness and cannot move except for a small twitch here and there, Naruto sleeps in the middle of men's fantasy and basically stomps on the dreams of most men from his original world. Uchiha clan. Deep in the most secluded room in the Uchiha clan mansion, a woman with a plain-looking face knelt down in front of a paper door that showed a shadow of another woman sitting in a Seiza position with a sheathed sword on her lap. Makoto-sama, I'm here to send you a message I heard from one of Naruto-sama guards. The woman inside the room was silent for a few seconds, but the woman outside keeps her patient, knowing her mistress is currently in the middle of a very painful situation. Then again, after her mistress whipped herself 1,000 times, it was a surprise she can still act normal. What is the message, Kanam? Did Naruto perhaps said he don't want me in his battle royale? The words stated by the woman were calm, but to one who was sharp enough, then they would probably take notice of the bitterness in Makoto's tone. Bitterness, sadness, and self-loathing. Easily hearing this, the maid kowtowed in front of the door to her mistress' room, a happy smile on her face. No, Makoto-sama, it was the opposite. Naruto-sama said he expect you to become his right-hand woman after the battle royale. And he also said good luck for you, congratulations, Makoto-sama, it seems your years of hard work is going to be rewarded. Is that so? There was no joy, nor happiness was wont to hear Makoto's tone, but to the maid's ears, her mistress is so happy that she cannot express it with tone alone. And it proved when her mistress said her next words. Call Tsunade Senju for me, tell her I'm in a dire need of medical treatment. If this battle royale going to be my last test to be with Naruto, then I want to do it with everything I've got, not with already wounded body. This Kanam understood. Makoto-sama, please excuse me. Step, silent. After the maid of the Uchiha clan was gone, the room turned silent. Hey you. A small, happy laugh can be heard ever slowly getting louder and louder. And by the end of it, the whole room was filled with a demonical laugh from the previously silent room. Ha 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 ha. Hyuga clan, are you going to join the battle royale, Wani-sama? Once again in the training ground, Hinata is practicing her Jaiken on nothing but air using her usual attire for training. A few meters away from her, her little sister asked her a stupid question. No need at the moment, it is only me who can be called as Naruto-kun girlfriend. I won't want to lower myself to become his right-hand woman, no matter how enticing it would be to be always right by his side. Hinata said simply as her hands lowered, and after she did such a thing, the air in front of her imploded by itself, destroying anything around with ease. Not enough. This kind of power is simply not enough. The kodoichihad is Naruto's shield, one that would lay down even her own life if it means protecting the blonde from harm, but then, who would be his blade? At the moment none, because every single day, women in the world trained their body, their chakra, and their technique just to be his blade. At the moment, no one is worthy enough to hold the mighty title of Naruto's blade, because no one is strong enough to take the medal. Of course, it was also Hinata's dream to get that title, Naruto's blade, his bride, and his child bearer. And for her to gain all of those above, she cannot become his right or left hand, no matter what. After all, there is a limit to what one person can do. She is Naruto's to command, and by proxy, her clan is also his to command. If she was always by his side, no matter how enticing it is, he would no longer have any access to order her clan around. She cannot let such blasphemy happen no matter what. I heard Naruto-san privately send his good luck to Makoto Uchiha. He expected her to be his blade and shield after the test is over. This information has been proven true, because not long after, Tsunade Senju walked to Uchiha district. The Hyuga that saw this suspect Tsunade is going to fully heal Makoto Uchiha, so the woman could fight with all of her power in the battle royale. Silent. The moment Hinata heard her sister's words, the clearing turned silent as Hinata's chakra went from dark purple to pitch black from her negative feelings. Outwardly, she even bit her bottom lip so hard that it bled. And then she exploded. Tell a messenger to say to Naruto I am going to join his battle royale. If Naruto didn't give me his good luck and blessing, cut the messenger's head. UFUFU, okay, Wani-sama. And with a childish wave of her hand, Hinata's sister turned her body around and walked away from her previous position, leaving one Hinata Hyuga all alone, with Byakugan active and arms clad in dark chakra shaped in the likely of dragon heads. The existence of the dark dragon heads alone is enough that within minutes, the clearing turned dry. Death had swept it and death still standing there. Makoto. Uchiha. Hokage office. Tsunade-sama, are you going to join the rumored battle royale? Inside the office room of Konoha's highest ruler, a very beautiful blonde woman snorted in a rather unladylike manner the moment she heard such a question thrown by her second apprentice, Sakura Haruno. Sakura, if one were to ask all men in this world, they would immediately say one sentence. The most beautiful kunoichi in the world. Unlike most kunoichi who are pretty tall, Sakura stood around 165 centimeters, easily making her the shortest among any kunoichi around her age, and unlike those who have E-cup breasts at the smallest, Sakura has very civilian-like B-cup breasts and pretty narrow hips. She's also the second apprentice of Tsunade Senju and the current head of Konoha's medical corps, making her not only a beauty, but also a beauty with the power to back it up. Naruto is the heartthrob of all women in the world, but Sakura is the heartthrob of most men in the world. Ha! I would if not for this stupid job of mine. Tsunade growled angrily as she crumpled one paper with her hand, all the while, she was glaring at nothing. She really wanted to join Naruto's private guards the moment she heard the rumor about the wage increase everyone under him receives, and the rumor about his weekly reward for the 10 top combatants among his guards. With her prowess, it would be easy for her to climb into the top 10, after all. But here she was, sitting and needing to wait for 3 or so months before she could take Naruto out on a date. A date? She is waiting for a date with him with very little chance for it to end up on top of her bed, considering she is pretty ugly, when his guards happily bathe and touch him every single week. She is fucking envious. Haha, don't say that now. Tsunade-sama, you are the backbone for our Konoha, after all. Bitch. You are the one started this conversation. Tsunade raged comically, getting a nervous laugh from Sakura that can only raise both of her arms in a surrender motion. Though, after a few minutes or so, Tsunade calmed down, her hands moving professionally around the desk, stamping some of the official documents that needed to be stamped. Her eyes are on Sakura with one of her eyebrows raised. How about you, any plan to enter the battle royale? Sakura is a very beautiful young woman, one that could easily make any other woman envious, and from what Tsunade had heard, Sakura has a childhood crush on Naruto back in the academy. But then again, who doesn't? Naruto is just too charming for his own good. Well, IP probably will. Quickly turned into a blushing mess, Sakura almost turned silent from the sudden question her master asked, though, after she did answer the question, her master merely let out a small smile, supporting her decision. Unlike the position of Hokage, Sakura can easily pass her position as the head medic to someone else for a time when she is working as Naruto's guard. Ah. You stupid shy bitch. Just fight against those stupid women that dare to think they are strong enough for Naruto-kun. Then once you are his right-hand woman, grab him. Drug him. Make him sleep and fuck him. Imagine riding his perfect body while his innocent and pure face right under you. Gulp. Heard what her inner self said and cannot help but imagine such a situation. Sakura Haruno can't help but gulp down her saliva with sweat trailing down the side of her head. That was such a dirty image. But at the same time, her groin and stomach area began to feel tingly thinking about it alone. Still. Well, let's just make it as our plan A. She agreed. Back with Naruto. Enough. That was the thought that crossed Naruto's mind the moment he got another question that popped into his head about this world, just when he thought he had completely understood this world's law. Enough. This world's men are undesirable to the female population, and the things about women that made men in his world lustful are ugly in the eyes of men here. That's it, period. Let's not search for an answer for the reason of such strangeness, because at the end of the day, he might lose his mind to search for an answer that does not exist. So yes, enough about the stupid study. Naruto-sama, does your headache got worser? Should I ask for some medicines from the hospital? The worried voice from Shizune calmed down Naruto as she placed a warm cup of tea on the table in front of him, an empty tray in her hands, and on her face etched an honest expression of said worry. No, just take these books away from my sight, please. Naruto begged softly, and without even waiting for long, by the time he blinked his eyes, the previously stacked books in front of him already disappeared, as if never there in the first place. Good. There is very little to no lust in this world. Such a thing leads to a situation where copulation between men and women is only done by the people who really want to create a family together based on trust between each other and nothing else. See? It was beautifully worded. There is no need for him to pain his head over other changes the situation might lead to. Of course, he alone is the bug mixing in this world system. The bug that can awaken the female population's lust in this world, and the women, never exposed to such thing, were and will be easily influenced by such thing, leading to him now practically having every woman in the world falling head over heels for him and him alone. Oh, wait, his mind was wandering again. Stupid. Thank you Shizune, I really appreciate it. Naruto said, thanking the woman that silently went to his behind and started to massage his nape again like usual, and after she heard his thanks, Shizune said her shuddered grateful words. All the while, Naruto sat and drank the tea prepared for him. Sigh. It was delicious. Now, what should I do to kill some time? Time skip. A few weeks passed just like that, and sitting on a sofa with nothing but his pajama, Naruto was rereading the papers that listed the name of Naruto exams applicants over and over again. He was sitting in the living room, and sitting across from him is the fifth Hokage of Konohagakure herself, Tsunade Senju, that blatantly ogled his body with lust and desire in her eyes. Standing behind her, a young woman with pink hair named Sakura Haruno is doing the same, but with a rather bashful expression on her face. It seems the guess stuck in the back of his mind was true. Everyone that should be about his age is somehow about 19 or so years old in this world, while he himself is still 15. Wait, is he really 15 in this world? Yes, it was really confusing for me and Konoha's council too, but considering you doubled your subordinates' wages and even gave the strongest among them pretty salivating rewards, I guess it is not really surprising that this year's applicants' number easily tripled the number of Naruto exam 2 years ago. Not having time to thought about his age in this world, Naruto can only nod in understanding when Tsunade explained to him the reason for so many numbers of partitioners in this year's Naruto exam. It easily reached 4,000 applicants and is yet to stop increasing. That is understandable though, I didn't, except for this many Jonin ranked Kunoichi to join the exam. 4,000. Even in Konoha, they only have about 300 or so number of Jonin within its army, and considering Konoha is basically the strongest among the 5 great countries, the other 4's Jonin number is probably also not that far away from Konoha's 300. To think 4,000 Jonin is going to come to his exam. Impressive. Very impressive indeed. And what makes it more impressive is the fact that all of them are women, so they must come all the way from every corner of Elemental Nation just to become his guard. Yes, I guess the number is just shocking. Tsunade nodded, agreeing with his statement though. Do you have any solid number of how many Kunoichis are you going to take among those 4,000? Here, Naruto narrowed his eyes slightly, thinking about the Tsunade's question. Among the 4,000 he sees in the applicant papers, each of them is Jonin and above, though some are even strong enough to give a cage trouble. Anyway, that's not Tsunade's question. Her question is more like, this year's applicants seem really strong, are you really going to take in all of the successful ones? 2 years ago, Naruto took only 100 among the 1,000 applicants, but it didn't really make commotion, considering he was always known to see people worth by their power, and the remaining 900 among the 1,000 just didn't hold a candle compared to the 100 he took. But this year, everyone seems to be strong so. Yep, as long they're powerful, I guess I'll take them in, though, I might need to buy some empty districts from you if that were to happen, Tsunade-san. Here, Naruto gave the woman across from him a rather seductive wink with red blushes on his cheeks, and after she sees such a sight, Tsunade's desire in her eyes seems to multiply by several times. To her, a wink alone from Naruto is fucking hot, but they're currently in the middle of business so. Unfortunately, I can't. Konoha law stated that a single person cannot hold more than 10% of Konoha's land, and considering you already has your own district and some lands outside the district, the total land under your possession currently is about 9% of Konoha. Here, Tsunade licked her lips sexily while staring at Naruto, seemingly trying her best to look as professional as she could, but from her hunger-filled eyes alone, Naruto knew what she really wants, something that made Naruto's blush deepen even more. Naruto put his card on the table before Tsunade can ask for something unreasonable. How about I let you create a private house beside my mansion for a payment to increase my land possession limit? The offer is salivating, and hearing such a thing, even someone like Tsunade can't help but keep her silent for a few minutes, thinking hard about a decision she would take. Though, after a few minutes passed, she nodded, and the two shook their hand with that it's a deal. Later, is it really wise to let Tsunade-sama construct her private house beside this mansion, Naruto-sama? As his assistant came and put a cup of warm tea on the table in front of him while saying those words, Naruto blushes. He won't say it out loud, but Tsunade is just too gorgeous that it would be pretty stupid of him to keep rejecting her subtle yet still aggressive advance for him. She is lusting after him and desires him, and yet, she was never that forceful and kept her distance, a sign of pretty good control. How can he refuse such an advance from a gorgeous and mature woman? He won't be as stupid as this world's previous Naruto. She is the current Hokage, being her ally is much better than being her enemy, plus, she is kind enough to us already, so of course, I would have to give her a gift her to show my appreciation. I see that was very mature of you, Naruto-sama. While saying this, Shizune took a seat beside him and pulled his head closer to her lap, where she began to comb his hair with the gentleness of a big sister. This is Naruto's reward for his trusted assistant that has stayed with him for years. Within seconds, Naruto's eyes become half-lidded as he was facing upward, watching in wonder as as a pair of breasts clad in black kimono moved up and down ever gently as the woman breathed in and out. It was mesmerizing, but in time, Naruto became slightly sleepy despite he just woke up from his bed a few hours ago. He is becoming lazier and lazier with so many women taking care of him. Oh well. Shizune lap bed, I want to take a short nap. With pleasure, Naruto-sama. Several puffing sounds came as Shizune made 7 shadow clones that also sat in Caesar position just like her, 3 on her left and 4 across from her and her 3 clones, and with a quick and precise motion, each of the Shizune lifted and put him on top of their lining soft lap. Lap bed, the bed made of Shizune's laps. And because he is laying in the middle of such a bed, light can no longer blind him as Shizune's 8 pairs of breasts cover the side above him. Remind me to give you a kiss on the lips once I wake up, Shizune. Of course, Naruto-sama, I will do it immediately if you forgot. Didn't get any time to say his response. Naruto's mouth was silenced as the 8 pairs of breasts leaned down, caging every inch of his body in the middle of the softness of Shizune's lap and breasts. Good night, Naruto-sama. Thus, Naruto took his nap. It was a usual day for one Naruto Uzumaki, the only desirable man in the elemental nation. I can't wait for the exam. Yeah, me too. I'm going to catch Naruto-sama's attention with my bloodline for sure. Ha. You wish. My well-trained swordsmanship is what will catch his attention. Walking through the busy and very crowded streets of Konoha, a figure in a dark robe and white fox mask was bobbing their head as they keep hearing so many people boast about their power, be it comes from their bloodline or something that come from their hard work. But he heard some information that said something about some people making a ruckus in the middle of the crowd and even killing some exam applicants. Well, considering when the exam and motion killing is forbidden, the penetrator probably killed some applicants to lessen the chance of failure for herself. Sadly, the penetrator was pretty professional and left no track at all. The professional assassin that trying to enter the guards of the most influential person in the world, one that was professional enough that even Inyazuka clan members could not track her. Excuse me, how much for this apple? Just take it for 10 ryo, but 8 ryo for 1 if you buy them in batch. No need, 1 is enough. Here's your ryo, thank you very much. After the figure with a fox mask said this, they walked away while biting on the fruit in his hand after he pushed the mouth part of the mask a little bit to the side. SWEAT. Now, where to look for the next clue of the penetrator of the guard candidate killing? That's the reason Hess here outside his mansion, after all. Well, not really, it was just boring hold inside his own house, even with such great and beautiful companions that would do whatever he asked for happily without any complaints whatsoever. But sure, let's search for some criminal while Hess outside. After all, why not? As the sun slowly began to set, a figure clad in a black robe and white fox mask entered the gate of his own mansion and take off the gears, showing that it was Naruto in the first place. And right now, Hess smiling happily. The day was a pretty exciting day. He went to so many places, talking with the people here and there without anyone glaring at him. Sure, there was some suspicious look thrown at him, but considering his gears, it was understandable. Anyway. After Naruto took off his robe and mask, a woman appeared beside him, kneeling with 2 hands raised, and knowing what she wants, Naruto places the 2 gears in her hands. It was his guard's extra gear. And right after he did this, the door to his mansion opened, and from it, Shizune came out with eyes full of worries. But when she took notice of his large smile and his seemingly fine state without any visible wound whatsoever, the worry in her eyes disappears as she walked in his direction and bowed down when she was across from him. Naruto-sama, welcome back. Would you like to take a bath, or would you like to have some snack? Geez. Not even a question about whether he successed to find any clue about the killing penetrator. Sure, yeah, she probably is trying to not ask about that, considering several elites among his guard were following him around, and Sholv already filled her with the fact that he was just walking around and not really looking for anything. But still. He actually did find something. Well, I was hoping that you would welcome me back with a kiss or tea. Too embarrassed, Naruto can only throw his face away from Shizune with a pair of reddening cheeks, but if you just giving me those 2 choice the MNNHH. Naruto's words cut off when the woman in front of him took him by surprise and embraced him. Her 2 feminine arms constrict his movement as her lips descend into his, capturing his lips in a searing and passionate kiss, one that quickly takes his breath away. Dazed and lacking any experience, Naruto's hands are clutching onto Shizune's shoulders, trying and failing to push her off. Her soft, wet tongue is yet to stop ravaging the inner part of his mouth, so much that when he tried to move his tongue, she was quick to dominate and tame it, then finished the movement by sucking on his little tongue along with his air. It was explosive movement. By the time several minutes passed, Naruto already has a few black spots in his sight when the black-clad woman broke their kiss, leaving him dazed and gasping for air. Not really saying anything, Shizune's arms are yet to release him and actually pulled him closer and let him rest his face on the nape of her neck. And with this position, she started to carry him bridal style. Feeling this and the movement she made as Shizune carefully walked to somewhere Naruto let his body relaxes and wrapped his arms around her neck, his face nuzzling her nape with a redder blush on his cheeks. Shizune is beautiful. She has a warm and big pair of breasts. Her figure is just to die for. She has a great personality. And also, her loyalty and love are on him and on him alone. Really, Naruto just can't picture how the previous him can reject such a woman's advance. Shizune, along with the others. Geez. He was so stupid. Later, Naruto came out of the bathroom with a rather big black-colored yukata covering his body. On top of his head, a white towel has been placed to dry his hair slowly. The yukata is Shizune's. Now, Naruto was a librarian. It was his job to sort and check the incoming books that enter the said library. Of course, it doesn't need to be said that he also checked and at least knows the previous coming books. And with his ample time, Naruto always spent his time reading books. He honestly almost read all of the books inside the library, but let's not talk about it right now. The library where he worked for years was full of literature. They even had so many books about romance, and of course, with his ample time, he also read those books usually with a solemn smile on his face. It was his dream to have someone who can understand him, more so a woman that he can call his own. And so far, everything he knows from the books he read is correct. The hug is warm and comforting. The kiss can be soft and romantic, and yet can be passionate. And of course, breasts are just addicting. This one is the one he hadn't believed at first. Like a normal boy of his age, Naruto was slowly trying everything he read and would like to do with the others, and for the last few days, he would sometime use the clothes worn by his women, mostly Shizune's and his top 10 guards. Their clothes are always warm, and every time he uses their clothes, he would feel as if their hands were creeping onto his body and molesting him. The feminine smell in those clothes also never help in that matter though. Of course, the act of using female clothes made him feel like a pervert at first. But one time became 2 times, and 2 times became again, and again Naruto found himself liking the act. Though of course, he was forced to straighten Shizune and the others when they decided to enshrine the clothes that he wore, and told them that the moment they do such a thing again, he would no longer use their clothes. He loves their dedication really, but some of their dedication just doesn't meet face to face with the dirty image inside his head. And yes, that's why he stopped them. That's selfish, after all. Naruto-sama, what are you writing, if I may ask? When Naruto once again sat on his chair, writing something that he would want every people, mostly women, in the world read at some point, he hummed when he heard what Shizune asked. The woman is once again behind him, massaging his shoulders over her own yukata. Her eyes have been ogling some of his bare shoulders after her yukata loosened at some point, fortunately, or not really, considering your point of view, except for this act of ogling. Shizune does nothing else. A good thing and a bad thing at the same time. Good thing, because yes, he is currently writing, and thus, any more than a massage, then Shizune would disturb his concentration. Bad thing, because he currently wants her to do more than massaging him. His writing takes more importance, though. Just a book that you and the others would read in the future. For now just call it Icha series. Icha series, the books written by the infamous Toad Sannin, the books which is the bane of almost all women back in his world, and yet an oasis to most men there. Naruto himself. He read most of them, and if he can be honest, has glad he did. In this world, there is no lust exist between men and women, and with such a situation, many things changed for lack of a better term. One of those changes is obvious. Without lust, an intimate moment is not something anyone wants to do even if they were forced to do so. Such a thing led to one another, but one of them would be the lack of positions of sex and the lack of foreplay actions. Kiss and penetration, that's all this world's men and women know when it comes to intimate actions. Handjob, blowjob, Hizuri, and many other things. This world population is yet to know about such things, simply because to them, intimate moments were not something they want to do. Yes, his guards did a group handjob for him, but that was more like an instinct telling them what to do. They don't even know what they were doing, even though they liked the act. It made him devastated, because with such a situation, how can he enjoy this world to the fullest? And thus, he planned to change this aspect of this world before he can start on his much grander plan to change the whole world. I see. Then may I ask you what it was about, Naruto-sama? Soft, long, and warm arms wind up around his shoulders when Naruto was too focused on his writing, caging him in a strong pair of kodoichihad arms, and right after she asked her question, Shizune's face leaned down and blew his right ear, followed by a soft kiss to it. An act that makes it turn red almost instantly. Naruto didn't answer her question, too embarrassed because of her simulating actions, and from the fact she doesn't need the answer. What's Shess doing? It's the scene he was writing. Lime scene. Tags. No penetration, years rape, foursome. Naruto-sama uecchi. A sexy voice and warm breath entered Naruto's ear when Shizune spoke that, followed by another warm blow right toward his earhole. With her arms already constricting him, it was easy for Shizune to hold his hands with one sleeved palm and cover his mouth and nose with her other sleeved palm, with the latter's sleeves slightly bundled, silencing him and forcing him to smell her nice scented perfume. MNHH. Surprised and obviously pleasured, Naruto mewed, a little bit muffled because of the kimono sleeves stuffed into his face. face. He won't complain though, not when the kimono is very soft and nicely scented. Just as he was thinking like this, his whole body became stiff when suddenly, a warm tongue dove into his right ear, filling his mind with such a wet and lewd sound of slurping. His body turned stiff, his feet curled, and even his eyes lolled to the back of his head for a brief second. This is too good. MNNH. Stop. That was what he wanted to say, knowing what Shizune will do in the next few minutes if she really going to follow the script he wrote. However, with his mouth covered by Shizune's sleeve-covered hand, what came out of his mouth is something akin to a mewl of pleasure. And hearing this, Shizune does the next scene a little bit early. Poof poof. SSSH Naruto-sama RELAX I will give you a lot of love. SSSSH yes, just like that. Soft, suggesting, sexy, and warm words were said by Shizune as two sounds of poof can be heard, and right after she said it, she dove her tongue once again deep into his right ear, blurring his sight from pleasure before he can even see what made those sounds. Knowing the script they should be shadow clones. He got no time to complain as before he can do such a thing, one of Shizune's shadow clones already take her place on his left side. Darkness took over his side as the clone used one of her sleeved hands to cover his eyes, while her other hand slipped into his yukata and started to molest him with the softness of kimono silk, tummy, chest, nipples. She teases every part she could reach without any sign of stopping. So much that sometimes, she would pinch his nipple, which he can only answer with another muffled mewl. As this happened, the shadow clone's lips were already beside his left ear, gently kissing the earlobe and blowing the earhole. And for some reason, he had this feeling that the shadow clone is currently smirking at him. ARA didn't the real me told you to relax, Naruto-sama. SSSH, relax and just inhale our scent, UPERVERT. As dirty talk hit his left ear and lewd sound hit his right ear, Naruto's feet tried to move, at the very least to get into a more preferable position. It was only after he tried that Naruto feel her, the last shadow clone, has chosen to take the hold of his lower half, embracing his two legs with her whole body, while blowing the tent on his underwear with her warm breath. No move will punish. Right after the third shadow clone's voice reached his plate ears, the Shizune under him began to push her plump cheek against his tent. Sometimes, she would blow on it again and make it twitch. And before he can do anything or something the Shizune on his left decided that she got enough play. And then, she dove her tongue. MNNGH. Naruto struggled hard when he feels his mind getting filled with the lewd sound of Shizune's licking on his left and right ears. Not only that, the fact he cannot see anything only makes him even more sensitive to the act she's doing. And the worst of all, right after Shizune heard his mewl, she immediately thought it as her doing the right thing. What she did. She fastened the movement of her and her shadow clone's tongues using chakra, raping his ears and mind with speed thrice than before. He was losing his mind, his feet curled, and his penis throbbing under the constriction of his underwear. He can no longer hold it. And it was then, as if connected to his mind, Shizune's clone that just now merely blowing and rubbing his tent with her cheek pulled down his underwear. And then, he doesn't know. Warmness, that's all he can sense in his groin area, and after that he exploded, followed by his body that fainted, inexperienced at anything sexual, and cannot handle too much pleasure at once. All the while, the slurping sound still can be heard across the room, as the trio keeps molesting him even after he passed out. Later, when Naruto woke up, his whole body feels pleasantly tingly all over. Still sitting in his seat, though behind him, Shizune is letting him use her bosom to act as a pillow. Her gentle arms still wrapped around his shoulders. This time, her palms do nothing except for one of them which currently gently combing through his hair. Naruto-sama welcome back, and was it pleasurable for you? Just as Naruto tilted his face to the side so he can ask Shizune about the time, the woman asked him that right after she greeted him. Was it pleasurable? Was it? It doesn't need to be asked, right? But then again, knowing how different this world is compared to his, Naruto can only nod with a blush on his cheeks, and said blush became much redder when he saw Shizune smiling beautifully, as if a weekend came earlier to her. I see, I'm glad to hear that then, Naruto-sama, may I do it again in the future? Again? Looking at Shizune's eyes, Naruto gulped when he took notice of her desire that seemingly become even deeper after she did things with him just a few minutes or hours ago. She's not satisfied with what they did. No, it's not that she's not satisfied. Her eyes in her eyes, if he was a bowl of ramen, then what she did is only taste his broth, she is yet to taste his noodle, his toppings, and anything else. To her, what she did to him was just a small dip, a small taste test. How should he respond? For all intent, he did say that what she did was very pleasurable to him, and thus, if he refused to let her do such a thing in the future, it could be seen as him lying to her. Considering his words held such heavy weight in this world, Shizune could become depressed instantly. Or worse, she would attempt suicide, just like how one kodoichihad did after previous Naruto rejected her and called her an old and ugly woman. This question. It's more like a trap, one which he cannot dodge. Oh, of course you can as long I'm not busy. He shuddered a little, but with his poker face already in its place, Naruto is sure that he looks calm on the outside. And hearing his answer, Shizune's smile became even wider as she leaned down and kissed him on the cheek, an act that cold made his poker face break if not for him already expecting a said move from her. Of course, Naruto-sama, as much I'd love to do it again, your time is much more important, after all, please, just tell me when you're free. Here, Naruto nodded. He doesn't really know when he was free and wants to be assaulted by Shizune again, after all, even if he wanted to do it, won't it be too embarrassing for him to ask her to do it? Ugh. Thinking about it alone is enough to make him nervous. Thank you, Naruto-sama. Here, Shizune hugs him once again, her embrace is filled with nothing but warmth and affection, though it's not like he needs to sense this, because, in the next second, Shizune will say something that hit his heart like a sharp kunai. I love you so much. Time skip. It's here. At last, the long-awaited so-called Naruto exam is here. Standing on the roof of his own mansion which was almost as tall as the Hokage's building, concealed by several layers of illusion cast by his guards, Naruto's eyes widened as he saw so many strong kodoichihas run across the Konoha's building rooftops toward the forest of death, where the first exam gonna start. The pressure came from all of those Jonin level ninjas, it's terrifying. Gulp. Here, he can only gulp down his saliva, once again, reminding him just how desirable he is to the female population in this world. Though, he's kinda put off by the fact he cannot see the exam while it is happening. No, it's more like, he can do it, but the previous Naruto only descended to the masses when the fourth and final exam happened. It's like, to the past Naruto, those who failed the first to the third exam, are not qualified to see him. What a bastard. What do you think, Naruto-sama? Was any of them to your liking? Any of them? What the? Most, if not all of those women are in their prime of 20 to 30 years old with the power of Jonin, which means all of them trained their body and mind to the edge every single day to better themselves. To him, all of those women are beautiful. And no, it's not because he saw their photos honest. Really honest. Perhaps, but I will hold back my opinion for now. A very wise decision, Naruto-sama, who knows? Maybe some of them might take you by surprise. Heard the words said by his assistant, Naruto hummed a little, cannot deny what Shizune said, most of the applicants easily Jonin level kunoichi, and some of them can even be considered Kage level kunoichi. But who knows? Maybe some Jonin level kunoichi might have what it takes to defeat a Kage level kunoichi, whether it is from surprise or from some sort of special ability. Whatever it is, he can only wait patiently. As the special guests arrived, Shizune, the 5 daimyos of the 5 great countries in the elemental nation, 4 of the other Kage of the other great hidden villages, several daimyos of smaller countries, and some leaders of the small, yet famous village. When the Naruto exam was held, everyone was invited, more so the people who stand atop the hierarchy. They have, Naruto-sama. The last to arrive was the new daimyo of the great fire country, Yakumo Kurama. She sent a letter asking for a meeting between her and you. From what I can see, she probably will try to court you again. Will you accept this meeting? Unlike the Chunin exam where the said exam was held for a whole month or more, because the applicants need to wait for the VIP guests, the Naruto exam actually dares those VIPs to be late. It was said the village that dare to do it will disappear from the map on the very next day. If you cannot come, say it. Don't be late period. I see and yes, I'll meet her. Naruto said with a small nod, accepting the new fire daimyo's invitation to a meeting where she will try to court him for his hand in marriage. He is honestly kinda confused about the whereabouts of the previous daimyo, considering the man got his throne overthrown. But as the thought always keep pulling him into the darker imagination, Naruto decides to not delve deeper into his own thinking and curiosity. Yakumo Kurama, the woman that once tried to become a kunoichi yet failed because of the lack of understanding her teacher had for her bloodline. And yes, that's all the information he has about the new daimyo, if he excluded the information about her bloodline, which led her to a jinjutsu that can affect reality for real. The terrifying power. Anyway, that's all he knows about the young woman. He doesn't really know how Yakumo in the past ended up becoming a strong woman, nor does he know from where she got her drive to topple the great power that was the great fire daimyo before she will try to court him. Alright, next month should be a good tea. This night cut off the word said by Shizune. Naruto gave her a small look of don't ask me, something which the woman accepted almost immediately. Tell Yakumo-san I'll let her to pick me up this night. For a few seconds, Shizune did nothing but stare at him with a mysterious expression, but in the end, she nodded. If that's what you wish, Naruto-sama. Guards, you heard him. Several guards that circled him disappeared, running fast toward the direction of the Kurama clan compound. The empty slots they left behind were quickly filled by the other guards that came out of nowhere. Really, these people are so powerful that Naruto feels self-conscious sometimes. But they all love him, and he will do his best to return their feeling, unlike the previous Naruto, that's a promise, Dadabeo. Of course, this Yakumo Kurama, he will return her feeling too, just like he will return the feeling of every woman in this new life of him. He won't let anyone go. Kurama clan compound. Daimyo-sama, you have a message from Naruto-sama. Deep in the already upgraded previously not impressive clan compound, a woman with brown hair sat regally on top of a big stage, with several paper screens and samurai around her. Covered from neck to toe by several layers of high-class kimono, the woman covered the lower part of her face with her sleeve gently, eyes coldly staring at the samurai, bringing the message from Naruto. Say it then, do not waste my time, human. Why yes. The messenger shuddered fearfully, and after he did, he told the new fire daimyo of Naruto's message. By the end of his report, the messenger bowed low and excused himself, leaving the now deep in thinking regal daimyo named Yakumo Kurama. Why? Why would Naruto suddenly want to meet her so quick? Asking her to pick him up today, unlike usual where she would need to wait for about 3 to 4 months. Behind her sleeve, a cold smile appears on Yakumo's face. Naruto Uzumaki, are you that impatient to reject me once again? The previous fire daimyo was nothing in his eyes, and thus, it is not possible for him to suddenly give her face just because she got such a measly title. And thus, he must be planning to reject her advance once again, her mind concluded. Daimyo-sama, I suggest for you to not take this information for granted. However, Naruto-sama, who previously rejected a court from the kodoichihad, was seen giving the Uchiha matriarch his good luck and expecting the woman to be his right-hand woman once the exam end. Who? Now that's curious. The kodoichihad. Who doesn't know the woman who killed her whole clan to protect Naruto from their evil plan? The woman is revered through the elemental nation and titled as Naruto's shield, where every single day, all women across the world can only wish to be a woman like her, who protects the great Naruto from the shadow. Even someone as powerful as Makoto Uchiha had to face the music sometimes. The bigger chakra reserves a woman has, the bigger their breasts would be, and the longer and harder they train their body, the more definite their muscles will be, and the more shapely their body will become. All of those are ugly in the eyes of any man, and Naruto is no different. No matter how powerful Makoto Uchiha is, she is ugly and old in the eyes of Naruto Uzumaki. I see, that's one curious news, alright, but my plan will not change. Quicken every preparation. I'll pick up Naruto this night and court him. Here, a charming yet evil smile can be seen on the gorgeous face of Yakumo Kurama as her eyes glowed with red light for a brief second. If he refuse, then he'll have no choice but to kidnap him. He rejected her once, she won't let him reject her twice. She will have him or die trying. Of that, she vowed to herself. Thanks for watching.